All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time of the day could possibly be in your neck of the woods. This is my final presentation for my PLC group, as well as Dr. Terrence O'Brien. So, my name is Kieran Brennan, and I am a consumer ed teacher here at Riverside Brookfield High School. And this is a technology integrated lesson that I wanted to present to my PLC group. The title of the lesson is Marijuana, Prison, and Pharmaceuticals. This is going to be a technology integrated lesson plan featuring podcast host Joe Rogan, host of the wildly popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. And he has a very special guest on this podcast that we will be dissecting and discussing and going over in deep detail on. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard. She is a Democratic presidential nominee. So we're in for a real treat today as we get to explore Tulsi Gabbard and some of her policies and opinions. So the rationale for this lesson plan, you may think it's a bit of a bold move incorporating marijuana into the curriculum here at Riverside Brookfield High School, and definitely wouldn't disagree, but I think there's plenty of merit and value to it. So marijuana has definitely been a major hot button topic in the media and politics over the last few years. Beyond marijuana's recreational and medical uses, I want to introduce to my students how interesting marijuana is, how rich it is in detail in terms of its relationship to politics, capitalism, the economy, and other powerful industries, such as the prison and prescription drug/pharmaceutical industries. The focus questions guiding this lesson include: how is the prison industry connected to marijuana legislation? And how is the pharmaceutical industry incentivized to keep marijuana illegal? So the standard for this lesson that'll be guiding this lesson, since consumer ed falls under the social studies realm, it's the standard SS.CV.9.9-12. So we're going to evaluate public policies in terms of intended and unintended outcomes and related consequences. The objective for the lesson plan: after watching the Joe Rogan Experience podcast clip featuring Tulsi Gabbard, students will be able to explain the connection between the prison and pharmaceutical industries, as well as marijuana legislation. Pardon me. And in terms of assessment, I'll have some more on the following screen here, but we're going to have a formative worksheet that helps guide the students' participation, as well as checks for their understanding. And ultimately, there will be some sharing out, so verbal participation will also be used as a formative assessment. So formative assessment worksheet questions, we don't need to go into these question by question. Ideally, it'll be printed out on a Microsoft Word doc for the students to actually tangibly write out with a pencil or pen while they're watching the video. The last two questions, 4 and 5, are rich for discussion. They lend themselves very well to a class-wide discussion and students sharing out. So that would be those would be the backbone for the verbal participation part of this formative assessment. For example, number 5, I will take the time to read that one. What was the most surprising to you in the Tulsi Gabbard Joe Rogan Experience conversation? That's just one rich question that would engage the students in discussion. And so here on this final page, of our presentation is the actual podcast clip. So that they're taking you inside of Joe Rogan's studio here, and I actually have the marker here, the time indicator queued up for us. It'll begin at the 1:27:50 mark, and I'll go ahead and press play just to kind of demonstrate here. And there's the lovely Tulsi Gabbard, and it looks like I'm just about a few seconds off there. And we'll just go ahead and press play.
It's the only way people communicate.
See how this translates to the presentation.
To this day.
That seems crazy.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on private prisons?
And so Joe Rogan attacks it head on.
When you're making money off of keeping people in prison, then you have a serious problem. The fact that we have a criminal justice system that is so broken that we're allowing these corporations to make money off of keeping their prison beds filled, we are doing a disservice to those people, to our communities, our family, and every taxpayer who's paying money for these private prisons.
And so for the interest in
obvious
time, I know my
conflict of interest.
PLC group
Exactly.
isn't going to want to, nor you, Dr. Terry O'Brien, want to be respectful of your time as well. I know you're not going to want to sit. It's a 10-minute clip that I have queued up here as part of the longer conversation, but just 10 minutes for the purpose of this class. I'm not going to show all 10 minutes, obviously, for time sensitivity issues, but it's very nice. We're able to embed the YouTube video directly into the Google Slides presentation. And you can even queue up the time. So you can see I had it almost just about 10 seconds off, but right there at the time that I wanted. And it makes her efficient and a very efficient technology tool to be used in the classroom. So thank you very much again. This is Kieran Brennan from Riverside Brookfield High School, Consumer Education Department. And it's been a pleasure working with Northeastern Illinois University on this project. And I wish my PLC and Dr. Terry O'Brien all the best. Right on.